Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Jan. How's it going, Buffer? My YouTube peeps. Ooh. You guys aren't showing up. Hang on. There you are. I'm a little exhausted. I went for a 3 mile walk in 85, 90-degree weather, so little tired. A little sun dried, I guess you could say. Been trying to start moving a little more. Trying to stay somewhat healthy if I can. I am back on my camera, as you guys can probably see. Oh, you can say I touched some grass. I bought a new capture card. So this little thing is what I was using to do my streams with on my camera, and it was every time I would touch it, it was super hot to the touch during a stream. So I think this was overheating. I think. So I bought, and it's already plugged in. I bought this. Hashtag not sponsored. And it has a fan that is constantly running right there, exhausting heat. So that's kind of nice. And then the other thing that's kind of cool is not just for a camera, but if I ever wanted to, like, I don't know, find another way to hook up an external video device, or I don't know, like a Steam Deck or a Nintendo Switch, and I wanted to be able to stream it on OBS or whatever, I can plug HDMI into this, and it should do that. But that's not what I got it for. I got it for my camera. Yes, the Trill Cam will be back. He's currently hanging out in the garage, which is just blowing my mind because it's like 85. It's probably like 90 something in the garage, and I keep yelling at him to come inside, and he just like lifts up his head because so my car's in the garage. How do I show you guys this? My car's in the garage, and he's like on this side. So if you guys are over here where you can see the car, he's over here where you can't see him. And I'll open the garage door and be like, Trill, and he'll just like pop his head above my car where I can see him, and then he doesn't move. He just doesn't do anything. Hey Butterfly, how's it going? My I don't know why, but YouTube is not showing up with my chat. My software here. Oh, wait a minute. It might be good now. Um, Hopefully we're good now. It wasn't showing up a second ago. Hey Mark, how's it going? But yeah, I got a little Miata in my garage, so I see him pop his head above the car, and he just doesn't move. He's just chilling on top of a box. So I don't know if he'll come over or he'll sit tonight, because I don't plan on being on here for too long. I just kind of want to give you guys a rundown. Hey Buffer, I see you. Thanks for the test. You should actually, you want to test something for me, Buffer? Can you do some emojis on YouTube? YouTube emojis haven't been working, and I don't know why. Yeah, see, they're not showing up. Hang on. Why would they not show up? How do I re-show my Reveal. Okay. Okay, so try one more time, if you don't mind. No, nothing. Yeah, I'm just, so I have this thing right, you guys don't see it. Desktop. I have this thing right here where I can see what's coming in, but it's still showing up as text. So I've got to spend some extra time when I have some free time figuring all that out. I have no idea. I'm not a streamer. Get off my back. No, I have never gotten the YouTube emojis to work. The last time we streamed, we had that one character spamming all kinds of emojis, just filling up the chat window, and I couldn't see what was going on because it was all text. Yeah, it got a little out of hand. I think, knock on wood, I guess there's a benefit here and a detriment. The more popular I get, I assume more nonsense will start showing up. And that's, I guess, the nature of the beast. But okay, so not a super long stream tonight. I mainly wanted to test the camera and see if it ends up getting frozen at any point tonight. Hopefully the new capture card means we won't have this issue anymore. We'll see. Time will tell. And then I'll kind of give you guys a rundown. I've been tossing a couple of messages in Discord, but I'll give you a rundown of what I've been working on this weekend in preparation for Briarthorn running on all these different platforms. So, website, of course. Ooh, perfect. My screenshot updated. I just did that. So my intention is to make Briarthorn source available versus just plain old open source. My thought is I still plan on wanting to release this on Steam, but I am happy to share what I work on, how I go about doing things, project configuration, etc. Especially if anyone wants to use it for the purposes of learning, or they just want to download the game, build it, and play it. Perfect. And then if you ever want to support my efforts, maybe on Itch or Steam, or maybe someday I'll set up a Patreon if it's actually worth it, then you can purchase the game and play it that way. That's my current goals. With that in mind, I have updated the README to try. Now, I'm 15-year engineer here, so I apologize if the documentation is way too complicated. But the goal here is for a non-developer to be able to come in, clone the repo, and then depending on whatever platform you're on, Windows, Linux, Mac, Web, SteamOS, Steam Deck, anyone, or Android, to come in, go to the instructions and run whatever command you need to run to build the project. So that's either with Zig or whatever compiler toolchain you have with CMake and Ninja. Oh my God, Temple OS. No, I don't have support for that. That's on me. Maybe someday. Or maybe someone can write a port. But that's the idea. That's where things are at. And yes, everything is green. Super green. If we look at all the different platforms I am supporting every platform with CMake and Ninja as well as Zig. So we got a lot of different builds that are running in order to make sure things are working. That's kind of where things are at. I've updated a little bit of code just to create a library and honestly just test my pipelines. Nothing crazy here. We just got a simple header file, CPP file. I ported over my icons from the Flutter port or prototype. So getting all that stood up should, in theory, mean when I run the application, you'll get an actual icon that shows up. It's not just like the generic window icon. So a lot of work going into that. Now, the next question I have, do I do headers and source files, or do I do modules? Okay, so game loop. It's slowly starting to come together, I think. I did create a drawing. Check it out. And I kind of want to build off this. This might be a little complicated, but so my thought process here is I'm still trying to I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do turn-based or real-time. I think real-time is more approachable, I guess. I think turn-based tactics, strategy, that kind of thing is more of a turn-off for the general audience. So plus the idea of, you know, steering the aircraft and trying to navigate and shoot while things are coming at you, that seems kind of fun. So my current thought process is to, honestly, not dissimilar to the game we were playing on stream, Slay the Spire, where you're like slowly building up capability. Same idea, right? It's a roguelike. And the idea is to see how far you can make it through a run, having choices along the way, collecting fuel, weapons, credits, etc., in order to move on to the next mission. And I think the first thing I want to do is set up this 1v1 scenario. And in my mind, I'm trying to think about, like, how do I get the player used to the controls, used to the game, without, like, having a bunch of text and tutorial style how to play. And I think, could be wrong, start off with a 1v1 scenario. Whatever class you choose to pick, 1v1 scenario. Get you used to the controls. Make it quick, right? Because once you get experience, you don't want to spend a lot of time doing this over and over. You want to become like, oh, I'm really good at this. I can do this in one shot. Get the benefit of doing it in one shot and move on. Maybe make it more advanced the further along you get. I don't know. But let's see. Can you guys see me drawing? Yep, perfect. So I'm imagining the search volume here, the radar volume, steering with you. So as you move, it'll steer. Well, we kind of already see that now in the prototype. But what the prototype doesn't have is the concept of these missiles tracking, but they only track when your target is in the search volume. If it's outside the search volume, then the missile's trajectory just keeps going in the direction it was last going, but, you know, velocity vector. So that it adds a what I think will add a challenge to the game where you're being shot at, so you need to navigate and dodge. Well, while you're trying to, like, move out of the way from getting blown out of the sky, your search volume will no longer point to who you're shooting at. So you have decisions to make. Do you keep it locked on to your target as long as you can so that the missile can track it? Do you give up on that shot so you can stay alive? And so it's like this song and dance of shooting, defend, which not dissimilar to how we were playing Slay the Spire, right? You get a bunch of cards and you have to make a decision. Do I want to play attack cards or do I want to play defense cards? And each of the classes to start with will have like a simple attack and a simple defense. And as you complete the mission, which should go pretty quickly, we start to build up and introduce more complicated scenarios. Maybe we introduce objects in a way, large objects, where you can like steer behind. But if you steer behind it, then your radar volume can no longer hit your target, which means your missile can no longer steer. So maybe you unlock smarter missiles, missiles that can go around the square or something like that. So that's my general thought right now. The other thing I haven't decided on is how important the range is for this game. If I want to introduce that complexity, maybe I don't introduce that complexity at the start, and maybe it gets added towards the end where you have to worry more about like range and distance. Like, oh, that enemy is too far away. My search volume can't reach him for my missile to follow him. I have to wait for him to get closer, or I have to fly towards him. But to fly towards him, I have to go through like air defenses, that kind of thing. So that, I think, is the general idea here, is roguelike, small mission scenarios, complete them quickly, use less resources so that you can carry those resources on to the next mission, that kind of thing. Hi Aziz, how's it going? So yeah. So this is kind of what it looks like today, and it's like some of this I do want to keep. I like the flares that I ended up making up because that was kind of cool to just have something that's stands out from like a color perspective. You start a mission. I don't know. I will be Jody. Game. It'll be a game. So like right now, I have. Let's see if I can avoid this. I have this crosshair that I have to. Oh, I can't really show you. I have to like steer with my right thumb. I am kind of thinking, maybe I take that away and you just use like left and right bumper to bounce between your targets, and you only really need it to launch at a target. But then once the weapon is fired, the only thing you need to do is keep the oh, I died. Keep the search volume on your target so that the missile can track, that kind of thing. We'll see. So that's the prototype in Flutter. I need to do this in C++ using Raylib and have it also work on all these platforms. So I got to get a little bit up and running. Oh, and I also got this working where you can either use CMake or now do zig build run. Like this. Yeah, I think so, Jan. I think so because I want this project to be open source, source available, and be able to have people either come by and observe how it's being made, be able to pull it down, clone it, build it, that kind of thing. And I can't do that with Dart because I'm not a Dart developer by any means. So there's no like what's the word? There's no guidance or mentorship I can provide when talking about Dart. Whereas at least with C++, there's stuff for me to talk about and go over. The big problem here is just watching someone heads down code. I don't think will be very good streams long term. So I still plan on working on this outside of streams, but you guys will now be able to git clone it, build it, and run it and follow along. That's my current thought. I think I still reserve the right to change my mind again. But this is my current thought. The other issue is the Steam SDK. It would take a little bit more effort, I think, to get it up and running in Dart and Flutter. There were some modules out there that had some support, but I guess it doesn't support all the platforms I want to run on. So I don't, I mean, that's not a big reason why I'm switching. It's just a thought. So we'll see. Plus C++ is more fun to write for me. It's the only thing I'm known for is Hello Triangle on as many platforms as I can using C++. What have I not done yet? A watch, a TV, what else? An embedded system, a refrigerator. I'm trying to think of all the platforms that Skyrim was eventually released for. I wonder if I can beat the number of platforms that Skyrim's running on. I mean, this is no, this is C++. I was like, this is basically C, but not quite. Holy C. I guess I didn't. Ah, I updated my screenshot. I'll leave that. Actually, let me commit this before I forget. And update readme screenshot. Okay. So this is kind of how I approach software development in general. I think I've talked about this. I like to just start commenting in how I think APIs might look. We'll see. I've been thinking about how I want to handle the graphics. Currently Raylib. I don't know if I actually want to do a generic node system. Thinking about the current UI, how complicated would I need to make my code versus just hard code a position at a percentage to the left and a percentage down so that when I resize, well, even when it resizes, it doesn't. Oh man, Flutter is so nice. Look at this. Based on the size, it changes the view so that if you're like on a phone, it changes. So I don't know if I need this. This might be a little fancy. And this is a lot of words. I don't know if I need all these words. There's a lot of stuff here I don't think I really need. This is pretty straightforward, I think. I will have to think about the fact of this application potentially running on different size phone screens. I also want, you see how smooth it is to resize this on Windows? That's normally something you don't get out of the box. Like if we run Hello Triangle, it doesn't do that. I actually saw a Reddit post today that I left a comment on that there is a way to solve this. I don't remember what it is, but I know there is a way to do it. Pretty sure I have to access the underlying GLFW and Win32 API so that my render code can be called during a resize event. But I don't think it was that simple. I don't remember. I've done it before. But anyway, short stream, heads down coding. Let's get some music going. I'll give, I guess, I don't know, YouTube people, do you want some music? I can find some DMCA free music, or try to. Was this what we were listening to last night? Might be it. All right. Let's give you guys music on the YouTubes. I'm gonna do an audio check here because I hardly ever test this. All right, this is me talking while the music is playing. Okay, I think we're good. All right, holler if you have questions. I'm gonna do a little bit of heads down programming here. There's a couple of like core functionality pieces I need to get done right off the bat. Oh man, here's the problem. C++ modules versus header files. Header files means more code I have to write. Modules means I sometimes lose out on the ability to like go to definition when I need to look up an API or something. Ooh, there's a way to fix this. Modernize use. Clang tidy is calling out raylib, but clang tidy should be ignoring everything. Oh, that's the other thing, by the way. All those platforms that I support, it's all like it's using clang tidy and unit testing to make sure that the code that I merge is relatively well written, right? It won't let me get lazy. That could be good or bad. I think if you're actually just trying to get a game out the door, sometimes good enough's good enough. But this is also for education purposes, for people to follow along and see how I actually go about like managing a real repo. Actually, yeah, I don't like this. I'm gonna try modules. Does anyone remember how to do modules? I don't remember how to do modules. Ooh, what if all my platforms don't support modules? This is gonna get awkward really quick. Dang it. Do I not have any of my code locally that uses modules? Are we crazy? Ah, here we go. Okay. We want this. don't think I need to specify static here. I do need to turn that off by default, but this one? Crap, what is it? Build enabled, no, build shared libs, I think. I think that's what it is. I want to turn that off. Shared lib.json. Alright, so that'll make sure I'm building statically. Well, I haven't done it yet on this one. I forget where I did it. Actually, maybe I have it on my computer still. That'd be nice if I did. But basically, you have to access the GLFW API under the hood of Raylib to register to a callback. I just don't remember. No, it wouldn't be here. Did I do it in Allin, maybe? The problem with playing around with a bunch of different projects is you start to lose track of where you did what. I use LLMs sometimes, especially professionally when I'm trying to get work done. For the purposes of stream, if I get stuck on a esoteric problem or something I just don't know off the top of my head, you know, like a problem you would normally have to Google or search a forum for, yeah, I'll be like, hey, help me, Fable, you're my only hope. Did I do it in here? Ooh, this is promising. I'm including GLFW. This might be where I did it. Maybe I did? Crap. I'm not seeing it. Okay. Why would I include GLFW and then not use it? That doesn't sound like me at all. No, I guess I didn't do it here. I did it somewhere. I'll see if I can find it. But there's a way to do it. I can't read your name. Can't help you, Durzu, unfortunately. There is a ton of remote work. I usually just honestly just do like what do I normally do? To find position sometimes. I mean, obviously there's like your I don't even know what they're called. The job sites, Indeed, Monster, etc. There's all kinds. But even Google does it. You just Google like remote CPP, and I usually tag it with like something I'm specifically good at, like Qt, CMake, something like that, and then see the types of jobs there are, and then I just kind of look at the company and see if it's something I can work with and send my resume. That's usually how I do it. What was that? Shared lib. Big shared lib. Oops. Okay. All right, so that's on Windows. The downside to supporting a bunch of platforms, I'll just do it on Windows for now. I can do this off stream, is all of the extra maintenance that is involved with keeping everything working the way you need it to. So there is a downside, a big downside to doing what I'm doing. Really only need to worry about all these platforms is if your game becomes successful enough. And at that point, you can just hire someone to do this for you. It just so happens I am that someone. So I can do it myself. Not shared. Briarthorn.ixx. This looks fine. This isn't right. This isn't right. I don't know if I'm going to need Raylib for this library. I am trying to keep my game logic separate from the render logic, if I can. We'll see if it's reasonable to do. So I need a new file called Briarthorn.ixx. Oh, all kinds of problems. I'm sure that's nothing I need to worry about right now. So we're going to ignore it. I guess we copy this, paste it here. This is a module. And we export said module. We export our namespace. Pretty sure. Been a minute. Nope. Autocomplete sucks. Alright. All that looks fine. And then we move our implementation into here as well. So that means all this fun stuff. Replaces this fun stuff. Alright. So we can get rid of this, get rid of this. Triangle, get rid of that. Run, run, run. Do that. We can get rid of that. Alright, so this is our module. Ooh. Does Zig... Didn't we run into this? Does Zig... Or no, we turned it off. Oh no. This might not work with Zig. We had to turn scan for modules off. Alright, well that answers that. I'm not gonna bother with that. Maybe I'll figure it out later. See if there's a way for Zig to support modules. I'm glad I didn't delete my header file. Okay. See if I broke anything. I probably did. Oh, that's for web. want to do Windows. Manually specified variables were not used by the project. What? Screw you! That's because that's... I don't think that's the variable. Hang on. CMake, is it enable build shared maybe? Build shared libs. Okay. Let's make sure that works. So I have this global Briarthorn struct. Where I call Briarthorn.run. I attach the rendering API to it. Do I need to do that? No. Add entities. Modify projection. Specify commands to do operations. We're gonna need a system API for iterating over entities, modifying state. We're going to need a renderer. I can make it its own object, but I kind of want a single root object to kind of control everything. So okay. I think then what I can do is during this run step here, we're gonna have like loop over systems, system.update, passing in this for this entities, something like that, and then a delta time, and then down here render might do something similar. This entities delta time. Issue is I'm going to have a situation where I press a button. That's a command. So I might, in this render step, we're gonna have like ability buttons. Ability buttons. And they are going to produce a command to launch a weapon. That command is going to run some logic that a system will then grab or take the new state and run with it. So a command might be to fire a weapon, target an entity, that kind of thing. All right. So at a bare minimum, I know I want a system object or interface that things can derive from. Now, the UI might need to interact with each other. I can do so either via these commands or action API instead of using like a callback system. So I know I want a system. Okay. The system, this is fine. It's gonna be, I'll probably just make it a pure virtual, which means, this should be. Now, do I want a system to own a reference? Or do I just pass it through the update function? Because if my Briarthorn object has everything, I don't necessarily want a system to be able to modify all that. There's only pieces of it that it can modify, such as like the command buffer. So it would almost be better to pass in the command buffer or have the output of this update function be an optional command or collection of commands. Because then from a debugging perspective, it becomes really easy to see what's modifying state and where the problems are showing up. So might do that. That'll be for later. We might need to pass in entities. So if I do that instead, delete this, and then Briarthorn here would have a system. System. Felt something crawling on my toe. Thought it was an ant. It was nothing. Why is my test file? There we go. Okay. Simple enough. I'll have to change this eventually, but I'm just trying to get some code in place so I can collect my thoughts. Because now what I can do is create a Raylib system to separate out the graphics from my game. So we'll call this Raylib. Then I think we'll have a renderer object. We want all of this. GLFW, we want all that. We want testing. Though testing for graphics is going to be a little difficult. You can't really do graphics in a server that doesn't have a desktop environment. Okay.
There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out. Haven't seen you in seasons, but all I hear is your voice.
should probably create a window class. Nope. Oh my god. Yeah, because this guy is going to be in charge of RAIing the Rayleigh window. So that means a constructor, destructor that takes a width, height, and probably a title. Hey Dal, how's it going? Let's do string view. We're using modern C++. We can use the string view, can't we? All right, so we do something like this, except that's wrong. My thing tidy will yell at me if I don't find my member variables this way. Except string is bigger than a width or a height, so we list it first. And we also need a destructor to handle closing the window. And we are probably going to have the window process the events at some point. And honestly, this is probably where I can handle implementing the window smooth resizing. I can do it in this class. That way I can like access the glfw header inside the CPP implementation. I feel so much quicker writing C++ because I'm so familiar with it compared to what I was doing with Odin. That's all I'm doing right now. Window, oh. So I think it's, what is it? I don't know if I need Raylib right there. No, don't do that. Knit window, close window, let's give it the resize set. Big flags, resizable. Yeah. I can't have parameters of similar types next to each other. I get it. So the other part of the alignment question for me is what's a good default so I don't have to sit there and optimize minute alignment. And so a string being like what, 24 bytes or something like that, is bigger than two integers of 8 or 4 bytes each. And so my default, whether it's right or not, but it's my default, so in my code base I understand what I'm doing, I always go big to small or containers to plain old data or primitive data types as just a way to be consistent across my code base. There is almost certainly going to be a situation where you can define your member variables in a very specific order to get the utmost out of your memory. I'm not going to stress about it. I just do big to small, keep the same types next to each other. Now, I break this rule when initialization order matters, and I'm leaning more on RAII. But otherwise, I just do like data structures, pointers, primitive types, big to small. And then I don't stress about it. That's why. What I don't do is just throw it around, right? Just put stuff just to put it down. I don't do that. There is a rhyme and a reason to keeping my code somewhat organized if I can. Now, I will say, not everyone does that. That's okay. That's what I do. Oh, is the string 32? Well, there you go. I might be thinking of a vector. Vector might be 24. Okay. It did not like add subdirectory given source test, which is not an existing directory. That's fair. I don't think I'm going to test Raylib much because I can't do graphics in the pipeline. Unless, ooh, doesn't Raylib have a software renderer now with version 6, or is that still coming? Because I could technically write tests with the software renderer. Build testing, I'm just gonna comment this out for now. Ooh, you're right. It called me out. Now, the good news is, if I have the wrong initialization order, I am making use of Clang Tidy, so it's going to call a lot of that out before I ever merge it into my code base. Like, even this, it's calling out, which is having two parameters of similar types in, like, that you pass into the same function, because that's bug prone. How do I know which integer is which? It's so easy to pass an integer into the wrong spot. Bug prone, easily swappable parameters. So I make use of Clang Tidy to call me out on this. So I will eventually create a struct. Actually, it's already been created. I just need to copy it over. Is it here? Right here. And honestly, what I would call this is probably call it like traits. So I might do struct traits and do a standard string title width height. Yeah. And then I can just pass in the traits themselves. Sure. I can show Clang Tidy. This is generally what I'm doing. Clang Diagnostics and Analyzer always on. Bug Prone Certs always on. I always have these on no matter what project I'm working on. It's just good to, like, it does get annoying because some of the things that you won't be allowed to do with this type of stuff turned on is reinterpret casting bits, which is a very common pattern to do. And so I usually will either no-lint when I absolutely have to, or do the mem copy pattern to do the cast. I do CPP core guidelines. I've talked about that on my channel before. I forget what all miscellaneous grabs in. Some stuff I turn off, though I might not need it for this project. But this will call you out on, I think, having headers you don't need. Don't do recursion, that kind of thing. Modernize is nice because it will help you find issues with, like, oh, hey, you can use a string view here instead of a string and avoid a copy. It also does the trailing return type, which is probably not everybody's cup of tea. So, and it's actually going to yell at me about this. But basically, all of my code is going to look something like this, where the return type is going to be on the right side. Which, I mean, if you're used to a more modern language, that's what everyone does anyway. But for C++, especially if you're not used to it, you're probably not going to like it. Readability, this one's going to call you out on all kinds of stuff. It's going to call you out on having functions that are too large. What else? It's going to call you out on, identifier length. I have a way that I handle identifiers in a parameter. consistently that bumps up against this issue, so I turn that off. And then performance, I don't know 100% what this is going to call out because I don't run into it all that often. And then I also use Clang Tidy to enforce my coding style. So I'm a what do you call it, a camel case is it Pascal versus like underscores. It's just what I'm used to and what I am comfortable with, and this ensures that I follow that styling. Without this, I might write code all over the place. And yes, it is annoying for a solo hobby project where you're just trying to get something up and running and working and doing what you want it to do. This is overkill. This is insane overkill. But I like it. It helps keep me sane. And it's what I do professionally, so it, you know, it helps. I'm just used to it. Didn't like something. Oh. No, that's right. I need to find a better way to do coding, because having like zoomed in text and having to do this all the time just so I can appease my vertical viewers. I see you viewers. It's yelling at me about overloaded. Oh. Hey, there we go. All right, that built. Perfect. Okay, let me look at my changes here, see if nothing's... Briarthorn. And initial system implementation. Okay, so back to the renderer. The renderer is going to have a lib window. And rather than make it a pointer, you can use an optional to initialize it when it's ready to be initialized. And it will still go out of scope when renderer goes out of scope, which should close and deinitialize Raylib. And then update will invoke. So I'll need to move my my window loop. Well, no, this is just my window. The renderer can actually handle the rendering. Okay, so what is that going to look like long term? If I create an object, I'm going to need like settings. We're going to have to handle user settings when they dynamically change the size of the window. I mean, I can always do a default of, you know, 1920 by 1080. Ooh, I'll probably want to default to different resolutions depending on the platform, because Steam Deck is a fixed size screen, I believe. Yes, go for it, Mr. K. Awin is completely MIT. You can do what you want with it. I think it's MIT. Should be. Most of what I'm doing in Briarthorn, I've already like kind of stubbed out in Awin. So a lot of this isn't necessarily new, other than all of the different platforms I'm trying to support because I'm crazy. No reason other than I'm crazy. Hey, Thunder, how's it going? What was I doing? I got distracted. Oh, ooh. This is gonna have to be a new habit of mine because I haven't been doing this. I also need to support Zig. So I think I copy this, paste it into here. And I need to set this up for Raylib. So this is source Raylib. I have a renderer and a window. Renderer, window. I'm gonna add the library as Briarthorn Raylib. Apply libc. If it's a desktop, configure test. Ooh, I'm not doing test though. I don't think I need any of this. I think I can just get. I'll comment it out for now. All right. First try. Zig build. Oh. Okay. Zig build run. Sweet. That doesn't prove anything because we haven't actually moved the triangle code into the renderer or the window yet. C++ is just my bread and butter. I also dabble in Dart/Flutter, though I'm not nearly as good. And so at least while I'm streaming C++, if people have questions, I can actually give answers or reasoning. Whereas if I was streaming something like Dart, I would be like, or Odin, No other reason than that. I've dabbled with a couple of other languages, but nothing that I'm nearly as experienced in. Alright, so I need to get this renderer going. I'll probably move the triangle code into here. Yeah, okay. So while Windows should close is a... I could probably make that a Boolean. Auto should close. No. Oh, there we go. Thanks. Yeah, I've only written C in college, which was like a while ago. And I haven't kept up with it, so I'm sure it's changed a lot since I last looked at it. But I've just never had to, at least at work, I've never had to write C. Now, I've used C libraries. I use C libraries all the time because it's pretty straightforward to link against, extern it, and include it into my code. But I've never really like written anything in C. I thought I'm pretty sure there's some new stuff in C++ or C++ in C. Like there is some stuff, right? Like newer, isn't there like a newer C standard? It's not just like what it was 20 years ago, right? C11. Okay, that, yeah. Do you have Booleans yet, or is that a thing? I forget. I know there used to be everything was like macro constants. Or do you have like an actual null type now or something? I don't remember. Should close, Windows should close. Now the renderer can use this to drive the loop. Relive. Now, there is a method to my madness here. I am trying to keep Raylib separate from the rest of the game. A little bit more effort, yes. But if down the road I determine Raylib isn't cutting it for me, I want to be able to swap it with another backend and the game will still run. Also, maybe down the road I create a server, I have all the game logic separate from the GUI, you know, that kind of thing. All right. There's a make optional function. Can I just do like in place or something? I don't want any of this. I want, there we go. Oh, my eyes. I apologize. I apologize. Transform and then or in place. I knew it. I knew it. I just need that. Dot in place. There we go. You're not wrong, Meow. I can definitely do that pretty quick. I just need to get the API in place, and then it'll be pretty straightforward to just tell it, hey, move the code here. But I do want control over what my code is doing and how it is doing it. So the implementation details, which won't necessarily be all that crazy, like there's only so many ways you can tell Raylib to initialize a window, right? What's the difference between me writing this and the AI writing it? If it's the exact same, but if I have the AI generate the API for me, then I start to lose grasp over how this application is going to run, and I want to still have that control. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I can also add a Claude MD. Like I use it professionally. I do. And I have a Claude MD where I kind of lean on it to be like, hey, this is how you need to write the code. Stop adding these ridiculous multi-paragraph documentation to the code base. Make sure you're adhering to my clang tidy file. Make sure my unit tests are being ran, and you know we're testing edge cases, things like that. I do all of that. You're not like, yeah, I do that. But for a stream, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. And I'll be honest, I am making a game that I want to release on Steam eventually. And I'm still going to keep it source available, so you don't have to buy it. You can just clone it from GitHub and play it. But I am waiting for the dust to settle on how people want to, or how people think about AI generated projects, because there's a lot of lack of knowledge if you're like a non-software engineer on what generated AI means. And it's different when just somebody says, hey, make Minecraft, and someone like me, it's like, hey, build up this interface, account for performance bottlenecks, make sure you are only rendering the faces of the cubes, call the interfaces, make sure you're batching all of the geometry and eliminate any vertices that are touching, because I know what I'm talking about and I know how to get the AI to do exactly what I need it to do. But for a normal person, all they see is generated by AI. That's bad. I don't know how to handle that yet. I don't know what to do about that. Forgot what I was doing. Obviously, you know, I don't mind a little bit of auto completing here or there, especially when it just like saves me a lot of time, you know. Oh, autocomplete. Okay. There. All right. So if we have a valid window, ooh, I'm gonna change it up. I'm not using ampersands anymore. I've been wanting to try this for a while, and it's my project, so I'm gonna do it. So if window and it should close, kill the window. Ooh, should we return? I almost want to do if not window return. Yeah, see, this is where I'd probably have a markdown file say, hey, I want closing and or opening and closing braces for my code. Okay, so that's been checked. So now we can do this. If the window should close, kill it, return. Otherwise, render. And render is going to be that triangle. So we're going to grab all of this. Okay, so I feel like the window should own the clear color. Like be like window begin, window end. Yeah, because window owns the screen buffer and the events as well. So I need a window begin that takes a color and a window end. I'm not modifying internal state, so I think this can be const. And this will take a color, call it clear. Do your thing, AI. Boom. Oh. Boom. Boom. Hey, why is it AI? Do it! Ah. It's supposed to tab. Alright, there we go. That looks good. End drawing, clear, begin drawing, except we need more. I'm on Raylib 6 and there's a bug. So we need to do this as well. Okay. Now, the renderer can do... not quite. Window... begin... gray. Didn't like that. Bow, 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 bow. Game symbol left of excuse you. Ah. No appropriate default constructor available. Let me think. Let me think. System. Shape undeclared identifier. Am I not including? What? Oh. Shape. Where did I do with that? Create a triangle. Is it this? So I think you're playing Silk Song. I see you live. I feel it's time to. I give you the feeling of playing Silk Song. Makes me think I have to play that game now. Actually, I should probably play the first game before I play Silk Song. Okay, so I need to make the triangle. Oh, so this is like a what is that called? A Pavlovian response. So anytime you see me, you gotta play Silk Song. Okay, so I need this renderer. We're gonna call this shape equals. Now I bet we don't have a size, which makes sense. So the window needs size. Auto size const vector 2. I don't know if I can stick with width and height though. I think I have to get the actual window size because it can get resized on you. So what is that like? Get window. Let's see. Window size. Get window width and height maybe. Window width. Nope. Set window size. Oh, interesting. Don't work in the living room. I can see that. I definitely like it took a little bit to get used to. Well, it's right here. Working from home. My biggest issue is sometimes I just lose track of time and I'm already home, and so I end up like working later than I mean to. No, that's not really what I want to do. Is this a float type? It is. Okay. So I want const auto W static cast float. Booyah. Booshaka. So we don't want this. What's it yelling at me about? Use designated initialize with. This isn't even my code. All right. So someone was talking about agentic AI. This is a good use for me and what I do, because there's a way to solve this and I forget how to do it. So I can do. What's the best way to do this? Let's go into raylib.h. Because my clang tidy is yelling at me all over the place. I think the solution is I have to, actually it's coming back to me. I have to tell VS Code, I think, to not work on third-party libraries. Actually, have I done this already? No. Alright, let's take a look. Quick fix control I am getting clang tidy errors with the raylib.h header. This isn't my code and this should be ignored. We can definitely switch to music, but YouTube, you're gonna have to suffer. There's only a couple of you. Oh my god. What a stupid solution. It's no linting. Alright. That's what I get for trying that. That's on me. I didn't give it enough detail. Let's do this. That should be fine. I don't need anything crazy here. Let's do Sonnet. I am getting inline errors from the Clang D LSP for third-party headers like Raylib. Is there a settings.json option or something else to turn this off for code I don't write? Yeah, so officially as of today we are supporting many platforms. This is available open source on GitHub called Briarthorn, which is the game. That is the game I'm making. We, as in me, have this compiling on Android, Windows, Mac, Linux, Steam Deck or SteamOS, and WebAssembly, and then also able to use Zig as the compiler backend. Yeah, yes, it's kind of a I'm gonna be porting. So once I've gotten all of this in place where I need it to be, I am going to bring in where is it? I am actively working on getting this into the repo. It's gonna take a minute. On this adventure that you guys have joined me in thus far. This started in Godot with a mix of C++. Then it went pure Godot, which for me was kind of a pain in the butt. So then I moved it all into C++. But then I was like, man, I'm spending so much time and effort getting all of this, like maintaining just the platforms, that I'm like, I could probably get some ideas down and running quicker in Flutter, which was the, actually, no, we didn't do Flutter yet. Sorry. Then we went to Qt QML for that reason, to get those ideas down quicker and up and running quicker, which it was successful, but I was still dealing with the maintenance. And one issue we ran into immediately was one stream. I wanted to be like, hey guys, I want to throw this on the web so that you can play. And I didn't have all the dependencies built in cache for web, so it took forever. And so then I was like, screw this, we're going Flutter because everything will just work out of the box. I just have to use a different language. And it did, it worked really well. So what you're seeing here, this is Flutter, this is Dart, the coding language, Flutter the framework. So like that works, and it works on mobile, but I can't really stream it because I don't know what I'm doing half the time in Dart. It's not like I have 40,000 hours in it like I do C++, so it's a little harder. It would be like watching me struggle with Odin, and it would go really slow. So now I'm back-ish to C++, not open source, but source available, the project, with the intention of still selling it, but available for anyone who wants to learn off of it or play it as I'm building it. Completely fine. But yeah, and yeah, Jan's Correct. It's it is technically the widget toolkit, but that's like the old Qt. I use the new Qt, which is Qt Quick, which is more like JavaScript rendering backend, or like graphic accelerated backend, versus the widget toolkit, which is more operating system backend. I try to use my hands and brain. I make no promises. I'll do the best I can. But yeah, so it's available here. Source available license, not for commercial use, and currently everything is passing, but we'll wait and see once I commit some of my changes here. But once I get my architecture for my game layered in here, then I can start porting some of the stuff from Flutter into here pretty quickly. And since I've already written the code, that's where I might use Claude to move it into or refactor into this code base. Because I mean, I've already written code. It's not like it's going to be writing new code. It's just going to be transforming it into my C++ APIs. But I want to figure out those APIs first. I use Claude professionally, and I used it just a second ago to... Actually, we need to get the answer, because I was asking the question. Where is it? Where is it? So, one of the issues I was running into is... I use Clang Tidy, but it was yelling at me about third-party libraries I'm using, but I don't have control over. And so I was like, hey, I know there's a way to solve this. I don't remember how. Can you take a look? It looks like it did. Okay. So that changed. What did it change? Well, it said it changed. What I added, a .clangd at the repo root. clangd auto discovers this file for any source/header it opens. The path match regex matches any path containing VC package installed. Okay, so this is how it's going to ignore it, I guess. Is it already getting ignored? Is that the issue? Okay, so this is what it did. So if the header files are coming from my VC package dependencies, suppress it. Yeah. So that's an example of how I'm using Claude. Because that saves me a lot of headache with these IntelliSense lines. I probably need to manually verify. Oh, I need to... Okay, so the issue is all of these red squigglies in Raylib, but if I do a restart clangd, in theory, that should be fixed. And it is. Perfect. Okay. I do need to probably manually add... Yeah, there it is. Okay. All right, where was I? Renderer.cpp. No, window.cpp, because I was getting yelled at by this thing. Use designated. Oh, right. .x equals. Yes, I like this. We're back. Method size can be made static. I get it. It can be. But I don't want it to be. Now I can get auto size, do width and height. Okay. What do we not like here? Width cannot be used before it is initialized. Okay, it just hasn't caught up. Triangle undeclared. Your space is undeclared. Right. I need this guy. Getting closer. Delta is an unreferenced parameter because it's being done. Maybe unused. System is an undeclared identifier. Okay, we're getting somewhere. I have a renderer now. Very, 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 very simple renderer, but it is a renderer nonetheless. It depends on the situation and what I'm doing with Claude. If it's a lot of stuff I already know how to do, then I'm probably spending a little bit more time building up what are called skills and Claude.md to make sure it's, you know, checking boxes that I would have to do regardless. And then yeah, I'll use it to handle a lot of like the testing, making sure it catches edge cases, things like that. What else have I used it for? I tried to just like use it for one-shotting applications. It's not great. It's not. And especially like if I'm using it on a client's code base, then I'm basically like line by line reviewing everything anyway, making sure it's code I would have written. So it like some of the stuff it does makes my life easier. Some of the stuff, like it's almost like I'm spending the same amount of time with programming. It's just that time is shifted differently. Okay, so the renderer updated. So I think in main, I can just do let's do so there is some cool stuff that Claude does. Man. So I have a mobile app I'm making, and I am not a UI UX expert by any means. So I asked Claude to run my mobile app and perform like an analysis on UI UX to see if there's any like problem areas or any improvements it would recommend. And I did, and it generated a web page, like a nicely rendered web page. This is Fable that did it, by the way. And kind of gave me a rundown of like problem areas for UI UX and some suggested widgets to kind of clean things up and move things around. And it even made like a simplified inline version of my front end that I could interact with in that web page, and it did it all in like 30 minutes. Like, holy shit. There is legitimate uses here, guys. And system. Briarthorn CGP. Yeah, I mean, you at the end of the day, the when it comes to software engineering, nothing's changed. You still need to write sound software that is maintainable, scalable, and usable by other developers, right? Because at the end of the day, you're trying to build a product for a business, for yourself, etc. And if you can't do that, then you're just dead in the water. And I don't know. I'm trying to remember when the LLMs first started appearing, and my mind was blown when we were like, oh my god, you can ask it how to draw a triangle with OpenGL and it will give you code, and the code doesn't run or compile, but it's close. And now I don't know, man, when did all this start? Because I remember distinctly this was probably 2020, 21, and then like we're here 5 years later, and now it's like boom, not only will it generate code, but it will compile and it will run on many platforms. Now it might not be the code you would have written, and it might not be very well written code, but it ran, and that's kind of cool. Yeah, the discourse is tough. I was talking about this a little earlier, because you got a couple of issues with it. One is the general public perception of it, which I do get from the perspective of like stolen IP and stolen art, that kind of thing. And then there's the perspective of, oh, you're using AI to generate, so you're lazy, you don't know what you're doing, and you're hiding it from us. So now I'm upset with you, and I'm angry, and I don't want anything to do with what you're making. But how do I let the layman, the person who isn't a software engineer, or like, how do I help them understand I know what I'm doing? I read the code. I know exactly what it's doing and how it's doing it, because I told it to. I don't know. I don't know how to solve that one. Like, there's nothing stopping me from being like, hey, take my Flutter implementation of Briarthorn, now take my Raylib implementation and make it work. And it will do it. Like, guaranteed, it will do it. But it's going to be a little all over the place unless I can rein it in and tell it exactly what to do. So this initial stuff I'm doing, which I am handwriting because I want to make sure it's correct and the way I want it. But once I get all those pieces in place, then it just becomes almost like a game engine where, like, hey, this is how I'm handling entities. This is how I'm handling systems, things like that. Well, that already exists in my Flutter project. I can actually show you. Maybe. Because once I can map it, it doesn't become much effort at all for it to just port over. Is it this? Yeah, it's this project. Maybe. Oh, did I open file? Whoops. File. Open. Folder. Do you want to save changes? Yes. So this is Dart and Flutter. So I have a main.dart, just like you would in C or C++, but it's doing a lot of Flutter isms, right? So on Android, I want to make sure the preferred landscape is set, things like that. It's going to handle web. Now it has the concept of a store where you store like data that persists. So it handles a bunch of that kind of stuff. And then I have it laid out, right? I have a game folder where all my game logic exists, or more like high level game logic. And then I have the sim itself, which is where, go figure, all of my systems exist. So if I implement a system in C++, and then I'm like, hey, Claude, can you bring over the system from my Dart project? Like, it's the exact same code. I'm doing a before minus rate times delta time in order to calculate what my current fuel is. Like, it's not magic. I know what the code does because I told it to. Yeah, that's tough. So I'll tell you guys from, what time is it? It's about time. So let's chat for a little bit. I gotta hop off here soon. I didn't want to be here on here too long. So where I'm at in my career, I have been not exactly right now because I'm working from home, so I'm working for a client, just doing pure programming. But prior to this job, I spent the past let's see, 2019 till now, 5-6 years, leading a team. I had been leading a team of about 10 engineers locally. We were kind of split up into 2 teams. So I actually had a smaller sub team that worked directly with me, but I was also kind of in charge of a second team. And then on top of that, I was also responsible for a couple of teams of engineers remotely. And I think it was like 24 engineers across a few companies, and we were working on this project together remotely. I was responsible for maintaining the repos, architecting the solution. I was responsible for hosting meetings, and one of the things we would do is backlog grooming and refinement, and that kind of consisted of bringing developers in who were responsible for implementing and making sure we were all on the same page, making sure we knew what direction we were taking this project. And so a lot of my time was spent defining issues and tickets to make sure developers got it right. Because it turns out one of the hardest things about working on a team on a software project is communication. And when you're the guy responsible for requirement breakdown and making sure the team is meeting the requirements of our client, then it was critical that I spent the time and effort to make sure my developers understood what the solution needed to be, because I was coming up with that solution. I spent so much time doing that, hours. Like, half my week was probably dedicated to managing the team that way. With AI, do I need to spend 30 minutes to an hour to multiple hours to build up a ticket for another developer to work? Or do I take that time that I was spending making that ticket for a developer to work and just make that ticket for an AI to work? I don't know the answer to this because I'm not in this situation right now, but there is something to be said that I don't like for someone like me with the experience, that I don't need to spend as much time managing and making sure everyone else was on the same page if I could just have a agent do that for me. Right now, we still need junior engineers. I mean, at the end of the day, there's still grunt work, right? There's still work I don't want to do. I'm gonna have my intern do it, or I'm gonna have my junior engineer do it. Now, obviously, the more complicated stuff I need to make sure I handle because I'm the one responsible for getting the product out the door. But yeah, That's not going away. It's just changing. It's definitely changing for sure. We can't deny that. And we are stuck hearing all the doom and gloom on for the big companies. I don't have any perspective on the little companies. The world is big. All kinds of software is happening all over the place, using all kinds of languages. We're almost all certainly using LLMs to help us be more productive in some fashion. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Was it fun? Some days was fun. Some days was the most stress I've ever had. Because when you are responsible for the sole product, any failure to release or solve the problem is kind of on your shoulders, and it's on you to make sure everyone else is contributing in a productive manner. I just, like, the job I had, it was kind of a startup. I mean, we were like 30 plus people, so I still had a bunch of hats on. I was doing all kinds of stuff. And so I think part of it was that was just super stressful. Yeah, I don't know. I can't, like, I personally, I never thought the LLMs would get as good as they are today 5 years ago. So have we hit a ceiling? Whether that's a cost ceiling, a data center ceiling, I don't know what 5 years from now is going to look like. So it's hard to know. I know what today looks like for me, and I get a lot more done. But the more you get done, the more you have to, like, code review and make sure it works. Because if you lose track of the plot and a company is paying you money to release a product, you can't lose track of the plot. You cannot lose track of the plot. So yeah. Oh yeah, and the whole, like, it's even like the bubble popping thing, right? Because I don't think, like, we're not going back. The cat's out of the bag. It's too useful. There's too much money. It's not going away. But the bubble popping, I'm assuming, no idea, but I'm assuming we're going to be left with, like, one man standing. And that one man, whether we believe it or not, it's probably Google. Google's everywhere in everything. I'd be surprised if Google is not left standing. I mean, they might just throw their project away. They always do that, right? So it's hard to say. Yeah, we really don't want that, do we? That's a whole other conversation, is how much influence these AI companies have on legislation and how it impacts not just, like, the United States, but other countries as well. That's terrifying. And I saw, I forget, I think it might have been a YouTube video. I'm gonna pause the music. Which kind of scared me, but it's a YouTube video, so take it for a grain of salt. They're creating content to make you watch it. But the thought, like, think about how much easier LLMs is making coding. But what about other things? How much easier is it, or will it become, to suppress? When the limitation of a government, let's say, is people and money, and now they don't have that limitation, what could potentially be done with LLMs now? Like, we see it with the flock cameras, which is terrifying as hell. So ah, I love what LLMs are doing for me for my work and how much easier it makes it for me, but I'm also like in a position where I'm not necessarily needing to learn a bunch anymore. I've kind of already went through that, and so now I can somewhat coast, which is really nice. Yeah, I do agree with Arthanes here. When I do use it to like generate a bunch, it's hard to keep track of the plot. And it's like, man, I can just write a couple of sentences and it can do all of that. Now I don't feel like writing code. Like, oh, I'm in the mood to write code. I can just write a couple sentences and it'll do it for me. I'll do something else. You know, I'm gonna go play a video game. So there's definitely that. Like, I think there is a mental toll happening, at least on me. Like, I'm aware of it. I try to keep it in check. That's why these streams, I'm trying to write code when I can. But, you know, I don't know. Oh, trad coders. Is that what we are now? Oh no. Do I need to start up a trad coding channel? Start doing oh man. I could mimic like trad wives channels and but do it like YouTube shorts for trad coding. It's like back in my day, I had to use oh man, back in my day, I had to use Notepad++. That's what I had. And when I was a kid, I was using Notepad. Oh, you haven't really benefited from it? Man. It might not be as beneficial. I guess it depends on the work too. I have definitely observed uh, AI not working for certain languages that weren't as publicly or aren't as publicly available compared to other languages. I think it is super easy to build a simple website without needing to know how to build a website. For instance, it does okay with C++. I think any like online language where the scripting language exists in public HTML pages, a lot easier for it to like train on, that kind of thing. The big yeah, I do like it for reviewing and testing edge cases because it's easy enough for me to be like, hey, I know these are the inputs. I know these are the outputs. So write some tests to verify that, and then also make sure you are accounting for the negative. So do negative testing, making sure invalid inputs produce valid results, that kind of thing. It is a huge benefit over Stack Overflow because it's literally like it's just knowledge I have never had and is like very hard to find is easy now. It's easy to access. It's so much easier. Like I grew up on Stack Overflow. Actually I bet I still have posts. I better not. I had all kinds of Stack Overflow posts. I've answered some Stack Overflow questions. And I have an even greater number of Stack Overflow posts that, let's say, went unanswered and had some kind recommendations on how to improve asking a question. Oh my god. So, the other problem is we're losing knowledge now because it's all end up in Discord channels or servers. So those aren't even searchable. A lot of knowledge is going into them. So that's a whole other thing. And I'm sure Discord wants to sell that data to some AI company that wants to buy it. I'm sure that's going to happen someday. We'll see. All right, guys. I'm tired. I'm going to go relax for the evening. I will be back tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern, probably. I'll probably tinker a little bit more with this, just to kind of get the base architecture in place. We'll see. But yeah, I will see you guys then. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Have a good night.